All right. Hi, guys. How's everyone doing? I hope you're all great. And I would like to welcome all the attendees present here. I hope it wasn't difficult joining this event or using this platform. It's a new prospect for us too, so we wanted to try it out and bring it to the mainstream for everyone as well. Before we begin this session, I'd like to give a brief introduction as to the premise of our event. We've all been forced into this transition suddenly because of the circumstances with the epidemic, and so there it's I think I'm very confident when I say that not most people the primary global consensus was not very confident with this transition, right? Because since it was just systematically enforced upon us to go from physical events and most specifically socially and academically, we've all had to face this transition from going from physical platforms to virtual platforms. And I believe that this event is a testament to that. We've all been hosting meetings for classes and events and even group projects and stuff. So I think it's a very we can take advantage of these circumstances. So the theme of this chat session is trend setting and digital transformation, and it works off of the same idea that we want to take advantage of what's going on, but we also want to establish this kind of trend of communication between ourselves and other academic institutions. And so that's the prospect of the STEM crew within the International University of Malaya Wales. So we wanted to do that. We wanted to talk to other institutions and their representatives, and maybe better understand what's going on. We can share knowledge. We can improvise. We can come up with solutions and recommendations, and understand each other's struggles and conveniences in these circumstances. And so that's been the theme of what we're going to discuss. So first, I would like to introduce the four speakers that you can see on your screen. So I'll go one by one, and I'll ask all of you to introduce yourselves. Just provide a basic background and what things you've done from your university or personally. First, I would like to ask Mr. Kahan from APU to kindly introduce himself.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Bong Kai-hen. I'm from APU. I'm currently studying for IT in Information System Security. Yeah, year 2, Sem 2. So I'm currently doing a YouTube channel also. Maybe you guys can support me also. I'll leave the link at the chat. Okay. So I think that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, sure. Next, I would like to ask Jack from Monash University to kindly introduce.
Hi there. Hi everyone. My name is Jachin, or you can call me Jack. I'm currently at third year in Monash, and yeah, before the session starts, right, I just wanted to make it clear that I have attended this event by myself rather than being sent by Monash University, and all of the comments or statements that I've made are all my opinions rather than representative of Monash University. So a little bit of background of myself. Previously I've done some internships with PricewaterhouseCoopers Malaysia as their assurance intern, and currently I'm serving as a finance executive director at the International Council of Malaysian Scholars and Associates. And in a couple of weeks' time, I'll be starting my internship with UI Parthenon at Kuala Lumpur. That's all from me.
All right, that's really cool. Thank you so much. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Arun from Inti. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, hi. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Clearly? Okay, all right. So, hi, my name is Arun. My full name is Arun Abanendi. I'm currently studying in INTI, pursuing in Bachelor's of Computer Science, Software Engineering major. And right now, I'm currently doing my final year project. So, one more sem to go to do my internship. Thank you.
All right, man. Good luck with that. So next, finally, I would like to introduce Mr. Diallo. He's joining us all the way from Paris, from Sir G. Paris University. Could you?
Hello, my name is Diallo Mamadou Bella. I'm a IMW former student. I did 2 years there. I joined the CY Paris University this year. I'm doing computer science. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'm really happy to have all of you here, and let's have a very productive session where we can discuss our questions. So let's start with addressing the main elephant in the room. I'm sure we've all faced challenges with the pandemic and this transition from physical to virtual stuff, be it social or academic and whatever. So I'm going to ask each of you one by one, like, what has been your greatest challenge and how have you, if possible, how have you overcome these challenges? So I'll go to Jack first.
All right. Yeah. For me, right, I mean, my core of view is that rather than looking at it as a challenge, rather I take it as opportunity. Um, given a pandemic, even though universities have shifted their classes online, um, my university itself, they have recorded all of the lectures, and it is kind of understandable that sometimes students can't attend classes due to personal reasons, right? And for me personally, the route I've taken is I would try to schedule around my time rather than fixing it to say 9 to 10 a.m. I have a class. I can attend the class later by watching the recording and do something else from 9 to 10. So basically, it allows me to juggle around my time to do things that, in my opinion, are most efficient for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think taking advantage of the current situation it's really good, and we've also had convenient aspects of this. So yeah, you make a great point. Next, I'll ask Diallo. What do you think? What has been a challenge for you?
Yeah, so basically, I have had many challenges since I came here. It was my first year here, and there was a lockdown when I came. However, we have some practical classes, some classes in robotics and networking. So those classes we have to go to the lab. So one of our lecturer got the COVID, our robotic classes we couldn't conduct it there, so they had to buy the materials for each student. We were like 100 students, so I had to go there and take that, knowing that the lecturer has a COVID. So that was a big challenge for me because I was just risking my health and all. But yeah, I did it because yeah, just for my study. I was just thinking, okay, I have to do it, and I did it. So that was a great challenge for me.
All right, right. It's a really nice story. So next, I would like to ask Kaihen. Can you talk about what do you think?
Yeah, so the biggest problem that I'm facing is that like when it's raining, the Wi-Fi like sometimes get like lagging, and then when you're attending classes, and then it'll be very troublesome. So because I am studying for IT, so I have the hands-on classes which requires us to like configure the network. So we have like something like the cable. So when during the MCO, like we can't go to the school, so it's very hard to for the lecturer to conduct the classes because like she can't show us like how the cable, and then even she tried to use the phone to record stream for us, but the quality is quite bad. So it's a very hard thing to um, overcome. So that's it from me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I've also had certain situations like that as well. It's been funny and awkward, but at the same time, it's also been very troublesome. So I agree with that. Finally, I would like to ask Mr. Arun, what do you think has been?
Well, to me personally, since the online classes and the pandemic started, at first, let's agree, all the students were kind of excited, like, woohoo, online classes, we can be at home, everything's going to be fine. But as the months go by, that's when we realize, you know what, guys, I think I need face to face classes. Because let's be honest, sometimes in online classes, I, for one, am guilty for it. I tend to have very less focus on it since everything's online, everything's just readily available in front of the computer. And besides the focusing point of view, like Mr. Pong has mentioned, just not the rain, internet stability. That is definitely one of the biggest issues because I've been seeing a lot of my classmates just entering the class and then 5 minutes later disconnected, and then they come back in and then saying like, "Miss, I'm sorry, it's raining." So internet connection problem. So yeah, I mean, since the pandemic, a lot of people, not just students, but like people who are in the workforce as well, will be doing work and studies at home. So let's just say the internet company now has a lot in their hands for the moment.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree. That's been really interesting. So I hope now even all of the attendees are aware with what we're talking about. I would like to direct everyone's attention to the live chat right now. You would see a link has just been posted. The purpose of this is that we want to introduce some form of an interactivity within the audience. So I would like to encourage all of you to click on that link. It will take you to a poll and kindly answer the poll and answer those things. So at the end of each section, we will be discussing the results of those polls and then subsequently providing another poll for the next session. So as we move on to the first main session of our talk, we'll be talking about the teaching and learning during these times, and and obviously we've highlighted some issues that we've all faced. So let's address those. I would like to ask the first question, very obvious, it would be how are you pursuing these online classes? What platforms are you using, or how are you approaching these online classes? So I'll go with Jack first. Would you like?
All right. So basically for Monash, most of our classes are, I mean, for lectures, it's all recorded. So it's all pre-recorded and submitted to Moodle or to Panapto. And whereas for, practical classes or tutorials, it's mostly done through Zoom, except for units that are also taught in Australia, whereby it seems like the Australian sites for certain units, they kind of prefer using Microsoft Teams. I and I believe that this is kind of like a trend with universities overseas as well. Yeah.
All right, that's very interesting. Next, I would like to ask Mr. Arun, what would you like to share, please?
Well, my university at the moment we're using Blackboard as a platform, and thank God, since the MCO began in March, Blackboard already has an online platform ready to go for an online class and everything. So that was a huge advantage for us in Inti. However, there are sometimes an issue here and there because like the Blackboard server tends to have some error. Like for example, when we upload an assignment, it's uploading, but after when it loads, then it will show an error message or Blackboard error number code, and then the assignment was not sent. So there are advantages, pros and cons for Blackboard, but most of it pros. Thank God it has an online class, like I said before. So yeah.
Next, Diallo, would you like to share?
Yes. So basically, as we weren't having online classes, we were having in-campus classes like for about 2 months. But recently, they imposed the lockdown. Then we started using Microsoft Teams. There is another platform called Discord. It's quite popular here. So those are the two platforms we are using for now. Yeah.
Right, right. Also, Kahan, can you also share how's your experience been?
Yeah, so for the scenario, like in APU, we're using Microsoft Teams, like
Right.
Jack also. So yeah, we're using Moodle to submit our like work or assignment. So Microsoft Teams like so far is doing fine, but recently it has a problem with the recording. So like when the lecturer record the video or the classes, the recording will like expire after 21 days or it's about the range. So like you have to download the lecture the session in case that you need it in the future. So maybe I guess Microsoft team has to fix that problem quickly before like something happens. Okay, so that's more.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree. Can any of you volunteer to answer, like, what are your expectations with these online classes? How do you see it going in the future, and how do you see it being implemented? Do you think that it's more convenient now, perhaps? Because for example, with timing and stuff, it's convenient, but then there's other aspects where a face to face would be better. So, would any of you like to talk about that? What are your expectations as we go on in the future with these online classes?
Well, if I may say so,
Yeah, sure.
my expectations. Well, online classes is definitely a huge thing, considering the fact that let's look at it in a student's point of view. Imagine 8 a.m. class almost every day. Let's be honest, we're all gonna have trouble waking up and going to the class. Sometimes we even skip showers or skip breakfast just to attend the class. So in a way, online class gives that advantage for students to being able to attend class with ease. But if you look at the disadvantage of it is, for example, like maybe there'll be some miscommunication between the lecturers and the students since the lecturer probably will have to handle a bigger group of students since everything's online. So might have some miscommunication like, oh, assignment deadline is supposed to be here but not here. So they can be miserrors. And also the service providers, their servers like Blackboard or Moodle or Google Class, their servers need to be fully functioning and running. Because if let's say a disaster happens, then online class is just a bust in the end of the day. So yeah, there's pros and cons to it. So it's based on perspective on how you look at it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Anyone else would like to share? Any one of you else?
Me personally, I'm not really a big fan of online classes because I really feel like there are some kind of classes can be conducted online, but not all of them. Especially those like practical classes, you can conduct that online. Like to fully understand, you have to be in class because when you are at home, you tend to sleep a little bit. You have to be really organized, or disciplined by yourself because there is no lecturer who will tell you you have to attend or you have to follow what I'm saying because like all the cameras are off, the microphone are off. So to me, the online classes they have their place. There are some classes can be conducted, but in majority, I'm not really a big fan of it.
Right. No, definitely, I agree with that. Uh, what about like, so we all have some form of recorded classes and sessions and lectures, right, which we can take advantage of. And apart from that, the most obvious thing that I think everyone expected out of this was that lecturers would upload presentations and slides, perhaps with content, and they would upload recorded lectures. So those things were kind of given. But apart from that, could I ask one of you to talk about any other things, any other approaches that your lecturers might have taken to integrate some form of diversity in your learning? So is there any other kind of thing, that incentive that a lecturer has taken? And I leave it open to any one of you to answer that.
Me basically, one of my lecture, our mathematics for informatics lecturer, what he did is like he divided the class into, like half of the class will go in campus. Then he will be recording in live via Microsoft Teams. The other half of the class will stay at home. Like we will do this each week. This week you will go. The following week you stay at home. So I feel like that one also may replace online classes. Like since you can ask a question in live because he is just recording himself. It's like you are in class also.
Yeah, no, that's actually pretty smart. I like that system where you have some form of communication with the people. For us as well, we have a similar kind of situation where in the beginning, before the lockdown got stronger in Malaysia, we had like an alternative thing between each weeks. So one week certain students would go, the other week it would be online and stuff like that. And we use platforms like Open Learning as well, and in Google Classroom, where teachers would upload lectures, upload content, and so students can use that to access whatever it is that the teachers want. Would anyone of you like to add to anything that was said? No, right? Okay. Another great aspect of, I think, a very important part of a university student's life would be the integration of group assignments and group talks with everyone, right? So I think every single subject has some form of group assignments, or some kind of a requirement for group studies. How do you guys tackle this kind of situation? Like, what's the most ideal manner that you would follow to have group studies, or any such group communications? I leave it to any one of you to answer that.
Yeah, for my for me and my friend, we are using Discord because like Discord is quite flexible. You can like share multiple screens at a time. Like I'm sharing my screen and then my friend is also sharing their screen. So, but the drawbacks of Microsoft Teams is that like there's only one person that can share their screen at one time. So like if you want like coding, sometimes like you want to troubleshooting something, it's basically like it's better to have this like two-person are like sharing their screen, so you can like just jump to their screen and then see what they are doing. Yeah, so that's it from me.
Yeah, it's really awkward. Like I would say, especially with coding, right? Like you're like, no, click on that word. Yeah, next. It's much better if you have a shared screen. Otherwise, it's infuriating when you have to like point out something and help people with it. So I
Yeah,
agree with
true.
that. Yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely something to consider. Anyone else would like to talk about any form of flexible communication or anything like that? Could any of you also?
Well, same thing. We also use Discord since it's widely available, and the same reason because like as a software engineer, you're gonna be doing lines and lines of coding. You can't be expecting for your friend to like, do you see the word printf? Yeah, you need to change that code, but in reality, there's like 1,000 lines of printf, so you don't know which one. So thank God Discord has that feature where you can share your screen, And not only that, it allows multiple people to share their screens at the same time. Blackboard also has the same issue as Microsoft, where only one person at a time can share the screen. So thank God for Discord. So whenever we have group discussions for assignment, as we speak, even later, I'm going to be group discussing with my friends for group assignment for coding. We're going to be using Discord later and sharing our screen to see the code, everything, and all. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I really enjoy using Discord too. But so, do you have any recommendations for any tools or any apps that you might use that might help with learning? It doesn't necessarily have to be with virtual communication or anything like that. But is there anything that you might have discovered recently, or you might be using for a long time that you believe that would really benefit students, especially under these current circumstances? Any apps or any websites or tools that you might consider you want to share with the students?
Well, as the software engineering websites that I've been always been using since the beginning of my course is Geeks for Geeks, and another one is Stack Overflow, because they have tons and tons of examples of codes, tons of theories, tons of notes and all. So it's very easy to understand because they do it like they do it in an alphabetical manner. Like it's like teaching a student the letter A rather than trying to cramp up all the information into your head in one day. So yeah.
Yeah, Jack, do you want to add, do you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I'm not really a IT student. I'm actually a business student, but I have some experiences in IT, so I kind of know, like Stack Overflow and Reddit is like the lifesaver for a lot of assignments. Even when I'm writing my own code, sometimes I do, I have an idea like I wanted a certain logic, but I don't know how to code it in say Bash, and those are the websites I go to, steal codes as well.
Yeah, those websites are like carrying everyone around the world. I would agree to that. So you might forget even the most basic stuff, like how do you enter a date? Oh my God, just the best thing in the world. Just Google it, no problem. Don't need to remember anything. So we reached the end of the first section about learning and teaching, and so the polls from the poll I mentioned earlier, we asked what do the attendees think is the best learning management system for them, and we offered the options of Google Classroom, Blackboard, Open Learning, and Moodle. Uh, a vast majority, about 63% of the attendees voted for Google Classroom as their most ideal learning management system, and the least amount of appreciation went for Moodle at 10%, whereas Blackboard and Open Learning will also receive about 13% of votes each. So yeah, Google Classroom, obviously I agree. Even before the pandemic, it's really good for sharing presentations and notes and assignments and allocating assignments as well. Like it ensures that you have a certain record to like you have to upload something by this time. Would any of you like to add anything to the poll, to what the polls have stated? Or would you like to say anything?
I kind of agree that Google Classroom is actually a better platform. I'm not looking down on Blackboard. I think Blackboard is great and all, but Google Classroom certainly have the edge because my mom is a lecturer in a different college, to be honest, and she's actually using Google Classroom to teach her students. And she always tells me like that Blackboard. They used to use Blackboard at our college, and they decided to change it because like there's a lot of issues with the server. There's a lot of like sometimes when the lecturer tries to upload something, the students are not able to see the notes or see the questions to the assignment. So yeah, so Google Classroom definitely takes the cake when it comes to being the best out of all of the other online classroom platforms.
Right. So definitely, yeah. Go ahead.
Just wanted to chime in. I think there was another I would say up and coming platform that certain universities in Australia have started implementing. That's called Canvas. And yeah, I mean maybe that could be included into the consideration side as well.
Yeah, I think I've used Canvas back when I was in school. I think 2 years ago or something. One of the teachers randomly brought it up. It was also a great experience, and I agree with that too. Yeah. So we conclude this session, and now we go to the next one, which talks about where we'll talk about student engagements, because, well, I mean, university is not predominantly about academics, right? We want to study, we want to have that knowledge in the academia, but we also want these extracurricular aspects within the universities. But this entire thing has been disrupted significantly with the prevalence of the epidemic and quarantine. You can't really go to conventions and exhibitions or host any workshops or anything like that the way it used to be. So we're going to address these. And once again, there should be a link for the poll in the live chat. And I encourage all the attendees and participants to participate within it. I will ask each of the speakers now one by one, how are you participating in university club activities and events or anything like that? I'll go to Diallo first.
Okay. Me, to be honest, I'm not really participating like in many social activities and all. However, like yeah, there's one I did participate. It's about a project to develop. It was to develop a smart cane to guide the blind people. So yeah, we tried to work on it. However, with this lockdown now, it is very hard for us to meet, discuss. We are doing all online, but since we have to meet in the laboratory and work, so our work has been slowed down. Now we are just waiting for the pandemic to reduce or the lockdown to be leave. Then after that, we will continue. How about the other activities? I'm not really participating. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries about that. Makes sense. Arun, do you want to share something?
So technically speaking, since this is my final year, I'm actually not in any clubs or association. But before all of this pandemic, I was in a club and association. And looking things now, it's actually really hard since most of the students are either back at hometown or back to their home countries. So to make an event and everything, it just has to be online if they're trying to make better for the club and society. And it's definitely hard because of communication wise, like maybe one member has very bad internet connection or somebody has a family emergency or something. So communication wise, it's actually hard, even though we have online access, but it's actually still much harder than when it was face to face. So yeah.
No, definitely, I agree. Some things are just better face to face, done in front of each other. Um, Jack, do you want to discuss?
So for my case, right, how should I put it? I've kind of run out of clubs for me to join in university because I was fortunate enough to be selected as the vice president for a couple of clubs when I was in second year. So right now, given I'm in my final year, I have to look outside of my university to look for other clubs to join, which I've encountered the International Council of Malaysian Scholars and Associates. Yeah, so at the moment I'm part of ICMS, and also I'm a consulting analyst with one of our sub club called ICMS Consulting Group. And our clients are mainly startups in Malaysia and also in Singapore.
That's really cool. I'll forward the same question to Kehen. Could you share?
Yeah, so I've participated at the Battle of Hackers like competition last Saturday. So like usually like this kind of like hacking competition is quite convenient at online because like we can use at Discord, and then maybe we can like share our screen, like what have we done, like which challenges have we solved, and then so yeah, so we're like three in a group, so the communication is quite well using Discord for the competition, hacking competition. Yeah, so that's it.
No, definitely. I agree with all of your points, really. There are issues that we face, but there's also a lot of convenience. And there's also external prospects that we can pursue, definitely. Uh, I'll leave it open to one of you. How do you think is the most ideal manner of tackling these issues? For example, Arun mentioned that, there's with classes and with extracurriculars, it's definitely a given that miscommunication or the convenience of being with a person, and then that knowledge sharing aspect, it's always present when it's face to face. But online, these things are a little different. However, we have to adapt to the changing circumstances and the changing scenarios of the world right now. So how would any of you best like to provide a solution to that, or how are maybe people that you know within the university who are participating in different things, how do you think they have done it? Could you share any?
Maybe I'll share a little bit different of a point of view. So right, I mean, some of the issues that was brought up was, the person you want to look for might not be available when you're trying to reach them, or communications might be hard. But I mean, just speaking from experience, even while I was interning at PwC, um, a lot of, I mean, especially when you're auditing very, very big companies, a lot of times your subsidiary auditors aren't in Malaysia. they might be, say, in Singapore, in Thailand, and wherever. So when you have some issues that you want clarifications on, you do need to reach them through the internal chat system as well. So what I'm trying to say is, rather than looking for solutions to it, we should rather focus on getting used to it in the short term. And I mean, in my opinion, this is also something faced by companies, and has been there even before the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And these things, you never know what's going to happen when. So it's best to just get used to it, adapt to it, and improvise. I definitely agree with. And the solutions you provide are excellent. Anyone else would like to share or contribute to anything? Uh, so in regards to, I would like to ask now. In regards to if let's say you were in charge of a club, or if you were within a university, how do you want to encourage student participation and student incentives within external activities, or perhaps within the university themselves? This could be academic or extracurricular, or maybe in terms of industrial exposure. So how do you how would you pursue this? I leave it open to any of you to answer that.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? Didn't really catch it.
Sure. So what I was saying was, what would be your best idea or suggestion to increase, students' participation in online activities?
Yeah, I guess I can share my some opinion of myself. So for the uni, they can maybe try to have a workshop for the lecturers, or the newcomers for inside the uni, create a workshop to guide them through how to use the platforms, and so that stuff. Yeah, so I think that's it.
Yeah, I agree with that because,
Yeah.
for example, when we're older students within a university and then we transition from a physical to virtual classes and stuff like that, it's much easier
Yeah.
because we've had that communication with the professors and the faculty before. But for newer students, this is going to be a very problematic and I would say catastrophic thing, right? Just suddenly transitioning. So I agree with that. That's actually really true. There's been a growth in the usage of knowledge based platforms within the pandemic. People have been applying for online certifications and diplomas, and all of these things. If you have done any during the quarantine, or perhaps even before that, what platforms would you suggest would be the ideal thing for students to take up right now? Any platforms, any websites? What would you like? What would you like to share with the
I can share some for the hacking. So there's some platform online you can learn for the hacking, Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, or CTF 101. Like for security, certificates are quite expensive. Sometimes it can range 4K to 5K sometimes for one certificate. So I didn't take any certificates. Yeah. So maybe you can try to learn some online, Try Hack Me. It's quite good website for learning hacking.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, I would recommend. I used Coursera recently and before or earlier too, and they provide financial aid for certain certifications and diplomas. So students could apply there as well. Because I totally understand the fact that we're already broke. We're all university students, right? Can't afford food, so forget other diplomas and certifications. Right? We're all broke. So, but Coursera has this really nice incentive where you can apply for financial aid. I think within 15 or 20 days, they approve that your request, and then you can apply for the entire thing. You have to sit for an examination at the end. But it's really convenient. Anyone else would like to share any?
Maybe I'll just chime in a little bit for commerce students. So me personally, I have taken the opportunity of the lockdown to sit for certifications from Thomson Reuters with their Icon platform, and also for Bloomberg Terminal. And these two certifications are specialized for finance students. Whereas for students who are going for say audit, they could look at Forage. It's a virtual internship platform, and I'm pretty sure that there's a couple of audit firms there that's offering a taste of audit for you to try out before you commit to the career path. Yeah.
All right, that's really nice. So again, as per the polls that were mentioned earlier, we have the results, and we asked all the participants that what is their preference for the conduct of online classes, and we asked about online classes or physical classes, which one they prefer more, or if they just like both of them in general. And I think I would agree with the majority of the consensus being that they would prefer both, because I kind of sympathize with most medical students, perhaps, or biotech students, right, who would like to have their lab-based activities, or as Diallo mentioned earlier, they had their robotics, but it becomes difficult, right, when you don't have that face-to-face thing. But for more theoretical subjects, a lot of people would agree that it's more convenient having online platforms because, well, it's predominantly just theory, right? So you're not really affected as much. In fact, sometimes it's more convenient. So I would agree with most of with the majority of the consensus. And again, comparatively, 28% of the people said that they prefer online classes over the 22% that said they have they prefer physical classes. So, but yeah, the majority stands with having both integrated within them. And I think as we progress further within this, because who knows how much longer this could go on, having clever ideas of integrating both kind of systems, and encouraging both physical aspects, or perhaps finding innovative methods of integrating what would be ideally physical in a virtual platform. Would any of you like to comment on the results of the polls? All right. So finally, let's talk about industrial exposure, which is something that's very important for us university students, especially when we graduate from university. Right? A huge problem that graduates face is that, well, you have the degree, but you don't have any experience, and most people are like, we want the experience. No one cares about you, right? Who cares how much you have? So it's really important to start early with your experiences. So based off of your universities, or perhaps individually, how are you, your friends, or the students within your universities connected to these industries, or any other kind of incentives that you could recommend for the people watching?
Okay, I will go first. So basically, in France here they have a system that I really like. They call it in French alternance. It's like you can sign up for a university where you will be studying maybe 1 month or 2 weeks. After that, you will be working for 2 other weeks, even for the degree or the master. So basically, that will help you like to learn what you have to do in your industry, the practical work. Beside that, also like most of the universities, they have some kind of cooperation with national companies or international companies. For example, my uni, they are cooperating with some kind of agencies called, let me check, ESPA. It's like a European Student Placement Agency. So basically, as a student in my uni here, you can go work or do internship in many European countries. So basically, this platform, they have many companies and many universities together. We'll try to connect them together. Like recently, they sent us emails of list of companies around Europe, like where I can apply for my internship. So basically, I will just have to send my CV. If a company like me, they will select me. Then they will be paying for my housing, my ticket to go there until I finish my internship and return back. Yeah. So basically, they have this kind of platform to help you like really learn from industry. Yeah, that's what.
All right, Arun, do you want to share something?
So if we're talking about like helping students to get exposure in the industrial world, Inti do have like for final year students, they have a station where they will help students. They give them like a list of companies which are actually those which are affiliated with Inti, as well as those who are not affiliated with Inti, because the lectures will actually help you on how to do your CV, how to do your resume, so you can basically market yourself to the industry, so they can accept you to do the internship program. But you're also given the option to research on your own. So if you have any, like maybe let's say Inti is not actually offering this company that you want to enroll to, so you found it on your own, no problem. You can just as long as you inform your head of program that like, hey sir, I have this company that I'm really interested in to do internship. I hope you don't mind, and they'll just approve it. So yeah, so they give a lot of flexibility. If you need help, the lecturers and the department are there for you. If you want to do on your own, it's your wish as well.
All right, cool. Jack, do you want to share?
Right. So maybe I'll just share a little bit of my experience while I was exchanging to the UK. Previously I was an exchange student to University of Warwick, and yeah, I mean, kind of a major difference that I can see between Warwick and also my experience locally is that University of Warwick, they have a very strong career services team. They have a lot of contacts with the industry. Like for example, in business, most of the people will want to go to say consulting, investment banking, law, and audit. So they have contacts with almost all of the top tier firms in those industries, and they often come all the way up to Coventry to give a presentation, a short 1 to 2 hours presentation every autumn to our students. So I mean to Warwick students. So I think that that's one of the key avenues that you know allows Warwick students to have a lot more exposures to the industry, and I find it very helpful. With that said, if say your university do not have such a strong contact with the industry, fret not. Personally, I do go to other universities' career fairs or even their engagement events. Most of the times, they wouldn't mind you joining. Just do whatever you need to do to get into contact with your desired firms, and also LinkedIn helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that too. I had a similar talk with certain Canadian universities as well, and they had a similar integration system within the industries. So and yeah, if I completely agree with the point that you mentioned that even if your university might be lacking, there's still incentives out there, there's still prospects out there to pursue for external advocacy. So that's completely valid. I agree with that. Kahan, would you like?
Yeah, sure. Like for APU, like we have last time we have the career fair, yeah. So because of the MCO and then the career fair get cancelled, so so for like the batch of my friends, we are just searching for the internship. So it's harder for us to find intern without the help of career fair. So need to like find through online Google or like JobStreet or something like that. But because I'm studying for like information system security, like APU actually like has the initiative to like help us to learn what are we going to do. Basically, like monitoring the network, like SOC analyst, like you have the real time like to try like what are you going to do as an SOC analyst. Yeah, so that's it for me.
Yeah, that's really nice. I agree with that, and I would agree with the fact that career fairs do play an essential role. But again, just like everything else, there's been a huge disruption within the norm of having physical career fairs. I know the student council within our university are hosting a virtual career fair this week, and the prospects are still the same. It's pretty similar, but they've cleverly and effectively transitioned from that, and I think that's very important to take into consideration. We for this for this session, we asked the audience about the polls, and we asked them, how do you rank a university? Well, what do you think is the most important aspect of a university, especially when you're considering maybe for a transfer, or if you would recommend it to others? And the options were between academic qualities or student performances, facilities, and the fee. And 75% of the consensus agrees with the fact that the academic quality is perhaps the most important aspect of considering which university to enroll into, or if you want to recommend to others. The second most the second greatest choice was between student performances. I think it reflects a lot on how much a university advocates for students to succeed or to progress further based off how much the students have done. So if you look at if you look at previously enrolled students and what they've been able to achieve as an incentive of the university, it really reflects on the effectiveness of the university. And I would agree with that. But again, I would hold academic quality above everything else, just like the majority of the consensus. So would any of you like to add to the results of the poll? What do you think perhaps would be the most important thing, or how would you consider?
I agree with the majority of the vote that academic is important. Definitely, that's the first thing. But also, I would also student performance is a key factor for me as well because it shows how the university actually tackles or work around with the different types of students. Because let's be honest, different students have their different learning styles, different studying patterns. So different students, if students' performance is quite high, it shows that the university actually are able to cater to the students' need to create that road and pave the road for their future ahead based on how they perceive their knowledge.
Yeah, definitely, because the diversity and the variety in the different forms of learning that is prevalent within students is something that every academic institution should effectively tackle. And so when you look at the graduates or people who have previously enrolled into universities, it reflects a lot about how well this diversity was managed. So I clearly agree with your point. And we approach the final session of this the final part of this session, where we want to summarize, and when we want to talk about, we want to basically reflect upon everything that we've discussed over the past hour. And we'll keep it pretty brief. So I will ask all of you to one by one to summarize everything we've discussed. What are your recommendations to universities to improve the student experiences with online classes or perhaps with external engagements? So how would you like to recommend, if let's say if you were directly in charge of telling the university to do something, or telling certain establishments to do whatever they want, if you had that platform right now, how would you address that, and what recommendations would you provide? So I'll go to Kahan first.
Yeah, sure. Like for me, I would recommend like everyone to create LinkedIn as soon as possible, because like networking is quite important for as a role when you're finding the intern. So basically, I found my intern through LinkedIn. Like someone like my boss like found me through LinkedIn. So I quite happy that I can find an intern during the CMCO and working remotely. So we're very like encourage people to like create LinkedIn as soon as possible, connect all of the people, like connect your friends and maybe someone from the industries and connect all of them. Yeah. And yeah, so another one is like don't specialize too specific in one area. Maybe like can learn like some additional skills that might help you finding intern also. Yeah, so that's it from me. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that. In our previous semester, we had a subject where we were told to make a LinkedIn profile, specifically if you want the marks, make one, right? So and we were told, like, the more you connect with people, the more marks you will get for that. So it was really incentivized, and I agree with the importance of that. And the second thing you mentioned was, diversifying your skills. I think it's very important, especially today. The more skills you have, the more you can integrate them, and it's very effective. So I would agree with that. Jack, would you like to add on?
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, right? Wait. Personally, I felt that, as to what the university wants to do, just leave it to them, given that they are definitely more experienced than we do, and they are the professionals when it comes to education. But what we as students can do, in my opinion, is to take our own initiatives. When there's there's a saying that said, when the world gives you lemon, make it into a lemonade rather than getting sour over it. So personally, what I've done is try to schedule my time, make my life most efficient, and also when it I can't agree more with Kaihan in the sense that LinkedIn is very, very useful when it comes to networking and also looking for jobs. I have a couple of friends who got internships during MCO through LinkedIn as well. Personally, I have not experienced that. And yeah, to also share another tip to secure internship. Personally, in one of my internships, right, what I've done is that I managed to secure my internship through clubs, and most of the time, if you are holding certain positions in the clubs, um, you do get fast tracked. You do get looked very highly off, and you might get to skip a few tasks or assessment and go straight away to the final interview phase. yeah, I think that's all. If there's anything, I'll add on. Yeah.
Definitely. I think all of the attendees here can also use that advice pretty effectively. And I would agree with you on that as well. And I really appreciate the advice you gave that, there's no point in complaining about your circumstances. What is, you can't really change that. So it's best to just take advantage of it and keep moving forward, right? And I agree with that effectively. And I would add on that, that's basically why we're holding this communication, this conversation with each other, to discuss these things and to open up opportunities for not only ourselves but all the attendees that are watching this as well. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on this advice. So just keep moving forward and don't let the circumstances stop you. Diallo, could you add something to this?
Yeah, so as a computer science student, I think LinkedIn is a good platform for us to find internship. Like me, I'm still looking for internship, by the way. So yeah, LinkedIn give you the platform. Like there are some kind of assessment you can take also in LinkedIn, depending on your skill you have. Like for example, if you are looking for web development, you can take some assessment in JavaScript, HTML, CSS. Beside that, also there are GitHub. Yeah, in GitHub also you can develop some project. It doesn't have to be big, but some project that will show like you really know. Like if, for example, you select JavaScript, you really know JavaScript for real. So the two platform goes together. You can attach to your LinkedIn your GitHub link. So if a recruiter wants to recruit you, they will just go there and they check the work you have done and some kind of appreciation you got. So I think LinkedIn and GitHub are two great platforms that you can use for internship or even for a job.
Yeah, I agree with contributing to the GitHub community would be is just something that everyone appreciates. And personally, right, if not to market yourself, providing open source, you can get a lot of clout with that, dude. If you make something good and contribute it within the GitHub community, right, you can get a lot of clout and appreciation for that, and it just helps, right? So if you're contributing to the community, eventually you will get it back too. So it works both ways, and I couldn't agree more about that either. So Arun, would you like to add?
Maybe
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
just
Chad, go ahead.
in a very quick fun fact, right? So even though I'm a business student, I write codes to automate my server. Uh, I mean the initial building out of my server. And there's one time when I logged into LinkedIn, and all of a sudden there was an achievement that popped up. And to my surprise, my code has been selected to basically GitHub has an Arctic project whereby they save like codes that they deem very, very important to humanity all the way somewhere close to the North Pole. And my code was one of the ones that was selected, even though my code is very, very derivative of other people's codes. And yeah, it's basically just automation script to run codes off other people's codes. Yeah. But I mean, I mean, it doesn't really help me in terms of my career, but it's kind of fun. Yeah, maybe little things like this could actually be very, very impactful to help you keep moving during times like this. Yeah, just sharing it out there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Having like iterative development, right? It might not seem significant to us, but who knows? Someone might use your code to make something bigger. So it's like an iterative process, and I agree with that. And it just feels good at the end, like damn, dude, I just did that. I agree with that. Yeah. So Arun, do you want to add?
No, I totally agree. LinkedIn is one of the platform that's definitely going to be rising really, really high for all students who are trying to look for an internship. I actually started using LinkedIn like only last year before the pandemic started because I knew I needed it. Who knew a virus would just take over the whole world? And I'd look at myself and like, hey, thank God I did LinkedIn, huh? So yeah, to recommend to all the students, best if you start researching on LinkedIn and what kind of jobs or internship you're looking for right now before it's too late.
Yeah, definitely. It's convenient, honestly, and yeah, I guess luck was on your side. So coming back to the polls for this section, we asked the attendees of what is something that they missed the most during pandemics, and we gave them the option between meeting lecturers or club activities, pocket money even, and meeting university friends. And the majority of the consensus agreed with the fact that they miss meeting their university friends. And I couldn't agree more. From all the way from high school all the way till now, most of the time you don't really want to go to school or you don't want to go to university, but the incentive is like I want to meet my friends or I want to talk to them, and I agree that I think that's something that you miss a lot during the pandemic, especially when you're locked into your house or even during classes. You can't make those comments. Sometimes you can't make jokes because everyone's gonna hear it. You're probably gonna get in trouble. So it's not the same vibe. And I totally agree with that. But the rest of the points of club activities and meeting lectures, etc., it got equivalent votes. But again, the most prevalent one was meeting university friends, and I definitely agree with that. Would any of you like to comment on that? Or
I think I'll just share my 2 cents on that, right? So for me, university is not just about sitting in class and learning. Because in the internet of I mean in the age of internet, you can probably complete your entire degree online. But what 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 differs online learning? I mean solely online degree with human life degree is that you get to learn from your peers and you get to mingle around with your peers. And your peers maybe 20 years down the road might be a CEO of some firms, and those connections could really, come back and help you out in the future. And to cite a survey, there was a survey that was done in the US among the Ivy Leagues and also the top MBA schools. So for the 2019/2020 intake, a huge number of them actually has buyer's remorse for signing up for that course because talking to my mentors, they did actually tell me that a lot of people went for MBA, not for the classes, and they probably, I mean, a lot of professionals who took MBA, they probably have a couple of years of experience in the industry. They might even, possess more knowledge than what is taught in the MBA class. So what they were looking for, by attending an MBA is for the connection because people who got selected into the MBA program has been filtered out over and over and over. And yeah, I mean, it's a very selective pool of talent for them to mingle around. And I couldn't agree more that personally, what I look for from a university it's acquaintances. Yeah.
yeah, definitely, because it's part of the social hierarchy, right? The more connections you have, it just benefits you in the long term. Because you might have LinkedIn connections, but having personal connections with someone, yeah, it goes a long way. And I definitely agree with that, supporting you in the social hierarchy and in the grand scheme of things as well. So that was definitely something to consider. I also wanted to share something that I mentioned earlier based off of the polls. I had a friend back when we were in school, and so I was completely confident on the fact that I'm going to take computer science. But he was conflicted on does he want to take psychology or does he want to take computer science? And I just kind of smacked him on the back of his head. I'm like, but I'm taking computer science. What do you mean? Is this even a choice or something? And yeah, that affected his. So now he's doing computer science as well. So friends can also influence what you do in the future as well. So yeah. But it's been a very it's been a very productive session that we've had right now, and I'm very thankful to not only all the speakers for participating in this session, but also to the attendees who have constantly been interacting and participating in the polls and in the chat. Earlier as well, when I brought up the fact that students miss meeting their friends in the university, Mr. Atul, who's actually a representative of airmeet.com, he brought up the fact that they can have virtual networking sessions on airmeet. Why not? So yeah, that's something you consider, not a problem at all. So but unfortunately it's time that we conclude this session. I would like to ask our advisor who has helped us in establishing this session, Mr. Sugin, to kindly share a few words on the stage. So I would like to invite him to the stage and share a few words.
Okay. Okay. Hello. Thanks, Zaib, for the wonderful session. You're doing a great job, and my sincere thanks to all the speakers. I'm very glad to see my students back, like Jachin from Foundation, and so Diallo. How are you, Diallo? Okay. I feel like it's a great platform for students to share their ideas and also experience, because the reason why we come out these ideas. most of the time the students feel like they only communicate within the campus, the students, and I feel like they are not really seeing what's really happening in other campus or other universities. So I feel like if we students can collaborate with other university and events, I think it can open for more opportunities. Okay, and we feel that this will be a platform for us to really go and try the what are the opportunities waiting for us. So even as a lecturers, we encourage our students to use LinkedIn. Okay, LinkedIn is a very good platform for them to create an event. As a student, you might feel that I'm a student. I'm not really looking at something like a job or something, but it's not about happening now, but you're preparing for your future. Okay, so we hope that this kind of platform will help us to develop more things, and we are planning to have more sessions in coming future. So maybe if you guys interested or anyone interested, you may feel free to join our table soon. Later there's a session, future speakers you may join and we can explain. And I really appreciate all the speakers like Kaihan and also Jachan, Arun, and Diallo. So for because I requested them, then they are like, okay, yeah, fine, I'm ready to join. Okay, that's the spirit that I really like from the students' side. Okay, and I think Arun's friends are really I think awesome. I really like the way they chat. Okay, I think they are actually they are indirectly motivating Arun. Okay, and I really appreciate for this session and hope to have more sessions soon. And also you guys can go and check our LinkedIn page, STEM Crew, and we will like to use that platform as a base for connecting other university students, so that it will be very easy for us to collaborate ideas or events. Okay, I hope all of you will agree with that. Okay, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. I don't mind. You can connect to my LinkedIn. You can find Sugendran Krishnan. Okay, so um, okay, I'll leave it to Zaid. Continue with your awesome moderation.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And again, once again, I'm so thankful to have all of you present here who participated and enlightened not only us but all of the attendees. We've all shared some really nice ideas with each other. We've all shared some opinions, some conflicts, some conveniences, and it's been just the most fun experience to have to talk to you like this. And I hope we can do so later on as well in the future, because we are open to having more Chatbinar sessions like this. uh, I would like to also not only address the speakers but also the attendees is that once we end this session, the lounge will still be open and you can all communicate with each other. You can talk about whatever interests you. There's different tables that are designated for different topics. So and if you're interested in future chat dinners, if you're interested in participating as well, you can join one of those tables and discuss about that further. So that's completely open to all of you. And once again, I'm so thankful to all of the attendees who graciously gave some their generous time to come and attend this session and talk to us and participate in the polls as well. It's been a great experience, and yeah, so we will now conclude this session. Would any of you like to say anything before we end? All right. Then, okay, so thank you everyone. My name is John Zabe. This has been the Chatbinar, the first session for it, and I'm going to end it now. Thank you very much. Take care, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.